It's a Friday. We're heading into the holiday season, and I want to talk to you about how I don't get sick. And I want to share with you a story that happened to me this last weekend. And I came home from this event and I did not get sick. So I'm going to share with you that. And I'm going to talk to you about why is this even relevant for your business? Because you're like, doesn't this lady talk about marketing and Pinterest? And I do. But one of the things that stood in my way for a long time is that I was sick all the time. I had sinus infections, fibromyalgia, chronic pain, sleep apnea, irritable bowel syndrome. I mean, a huge list of stuff. If you're really interested in what all I had going on health wise, I would be happy to send you a link. Just send me a message and I'll send you a link. I have a post on my DIY blog all about how I got rid of all these health ailments. But I'm going to give you some actionable stuff today that you can use now, especially with us going into the holiday season. So let's go ahead and get started. So first, I'm at this conference this weekend and or this last weekend, and this lady sitting next to me, and I was sure I was going to get sick. And I haven't been sick since March 2019. So that's almost 4 years ago. If you're watching this after March 2023, then that's 4 years ago. And so this lady sitting next to me, and we all, when we came to this event, we all signed an agreement that was like, if you have any symptoms of illness or the flu or anything like that, that you won't come, right? Because everybody's very conscious of this stuff these days. And I'm going to put on the chat so that I can see if you guys are leaving any comments. All right. So she sits next to me and she's kind of sniffling. And I was like, oh, I'm not going to think a lot of it out of it. And then she pulls out this orange bottle. And I was like, is that a Dayquil bottle? It was straight up Dayquil. And I was like, oh, heck no. Like, she did not just pull out Dayquil. She signed the same agreement as me and is in the event not to come sick. And here she is being sick. And I launched into old patterns and I could feel the sickness creeping over me. I could feel it coming over. And I was like, no, 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 I don't want to get sick. And I started feeling sick and I was like, oh, this sucks. But here's the thing, I didn't get sick. I'm going to share how I didn't get sick. I'm going to share with you all the steps for something that I do so that I do not get sick. And the reason I'm sharing this is because success in our business is not just about the work we do, right? It's not just about oh, I'm going to go do XYZ on Pinterest, right? There's tons of that information everywhere. We have loads of information around us. It's not a shortage of information. Hi, Carol. Good to see you. Thanks for commenting. And we have people who tell us what to do in our business, like marketing coaches, right? I'm a marketing coach. Help people with Pinterest. I help people with SEO strategy, search engine stuff. I help people with using doing better email marketing, getting better results from that, with increasing their revenue, increasing their income. And the place where people get stuck isn't really a lack of information or a lack of supportive people around them. Like, you might have a spouse or a partner who's not supportive, but you come online and you're in Facebook groups and there's other bloggers and there's other business owners and there's other people that you are likely connected to who are there to help support you. The place where I see people really get stuck is the mind. It's the mind, it's the emotions, it's the mental that stands in our way, our beliefs, our stories. And those give us very reasonable and totally innocent sounding excuses. Oh, can't show up to work today because I'm sick, right? Totally. Who's going to be like, suck it up, buttercup, just come to work? Unless you're in the military. And even then, they probably don't want you to come to work. Those excuses, those reasons stand between us and our goals. And they show up in a lot of different ways. One way they show up is us getting sick. And I can help you with the information and the knowledge and the what to do in your business, right? Do this on Pinterest. Here's how you create a strategy. Here's how you understand the platform, blah, blah, blah. I totally can do all of that. But I also can help remove the blocks. These are the things that stand in our way of actually doing the work. And so I'll tell you more about how I can help you do this at the end. I am going to give you the steps of what to do. So here's why I'm talking about this right now. We are in holiday season. You are likely going to be traveling. You're going to be around your family. You're going to be around friends. There's Christmas parties. You're going to be working, right? We want to get some stuff done before the end of the year. This is for me, I feel the energy of this time. I'm just oh, I want to get so much stuff done because it's a huge money-making time, especially for my niche, crafts, DIY, recipes. Those kind of blogs take off at this time. So I totally get it. And when I used to be working the trade shows, this was a time where we were like cranking out samples for the trade show booth and designing the booth and doing all this crazy stuff. December was always a very, very busy month. You're also going to be going to the kids' school concert. You're going to be around kids. They're going to be sick. You're going to be around people. Lots and lots of opportunities to get sick. Lots of opportunities. So, how is this a problem? So the reason that getting sick around the holidays is a problem, and I want to state this very clearly because you're probably like, well, yeah, it's inconvenient. Yeah, it interferes with what you want to do. You got stuff you want to do. You want to be with your friends and family. You want to be celebrating. You want to be getting stuff done before the end of the year. You want to hit the ground running in the new year. Maybe you made some resolutions. Maybe you made a vision board. All that stuff is great. But if you're laid up in bed sick, you cannot do it, right? Being sick makes you lose a lot of time. You spend time in bed and not doing work. If you are working, you're probably working slower because it sucks being sick. It can slow you down and get other people around you sick. So now you don't just have to take care of yourself, especially if you're the mom. Now you got to take care of everybody else. So that takes even more time away from you. This causes us to lose momentum, and then we can't enjoy ourselves. We can't enjoy the fruits of our labors. We can't enjoy the holiday season. We can't enjoy the family and friends around us. It's so funny. My sister just came back from an event also last weekend, and she's like, oh, I spent all this time in bed sick. I didn't have any time to do that. And I was like, why are you not doing the stuff that like I've told her too. So it's a problem because it just interferes with everything. So here's what happened this weekend. I'll tell you a little more in detail, and then I'm going to tell you how I got rid of it. So I'm at this training, 12-hour day, 12-hour days of training. And this lady sits next to me and is drinking the orange bottle. And I was just like, that is freaking Dayquil. Then I was like, I don't know, maybe I'm being paranoid. Okay. And I was like, looking out of the corner, I'm like, that's freaking Dayquil. So then she starts drinking an orange juice. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe she's trying to be healthy. Then she goes to the back of the room and gets a box of tissues and is sniffling and wiping her nose and blowing her nose. And I start feeling body aches. I start to get sniffly. I go to the staff. I'm like, dude, can I move my seat? This lady is sick. I don't want to get sick. But I don't want her to feel bad. So can I move my seat on a break, secretly somewhere far away? I was just like, I thought, oh my God, I'm getting sick. And I really went there. I swear my body hurt. My face got red. I started to feel like I was getting sick. And then I asked myself a really important question. What does getting sick do for me? What does getting sick get me that I think I can't have right now? So one, sympathy. Oh, if I'm sick, I can't go to work. I can't do all this stuff. Everybody's, oh, Jennifer, poor you. I hope you feel better, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, okay. I don't have to deal with my boyfriend when I come home because I'm sick and I'm in bed. And so we can't talk about important things we need to talk about. So it gets me out of those conversations or delays them, right? And this is me being super real, super transparent because I can't solve this problem just like you can't solve this problem unless you are completely, totally honest with yourself. And so some of the things that come up might be kind of ugly and might be kind of like, am I really like that? Do I want to think that about myself? Be honest with yourself because you can't solve this problem if you're not honest. Okay. Third thing it gets me out of. So it gives me sympathy. Don't have to deal with the boyfriend when I get home. Gets me out of the rest of the trip. So I had, after this training I was at, these long, long days, I was like, I'm going to drive over here 9 hours. And then I'm going to stay at this person's house. Then I'm going to drive over here. Then I'm going to go to this concert. Then I'm going to stay at this other person's house. Then I'm going to drive another 9 hours. Meanwhile, I'll try to take my calls. I was like, it was a crazy, grueling schedule. So it gets me out of this grueling travel schedule that I felt like I could not say no to. And then it gets me rest when I get home instead of jumping right back into work. So this event ended on a Sunday. If I went back, if I went on the rest of the trip, I'd get home Tuesday. If I didn't, I'd get home Monday. And either way, I got to get back to work, right? So if I get home and I'm sick, I can have a day of rest. I hadn't had a day of rest. I've been working 10 days straight. So that way I don't have to feel guilty if I rest, right? Because I'm like, oh, well, I'm sick. Have you ever felt this way? Have you guys ever thought any of these things? You don't have to tell me. You can keep it a secret. I'm not trying to call you out. But just if I ask myself, go back to what does getting sick get me? Oh, it gets me all kinds of great stuff, right? And then I sat there and I said, you know what? I'm not going to get sick. And when I decided not to get sick, it was gone like that. Just gone in an instant. And I am not sick now. I have not been sick. I was like, It's so funny. Somebody was telling me that they were feeling like they're coming down with something about a month ago. And I was like, oh yeah, I was like, I don't have any medicine for that. No Dayquil, no NyQuil. I don't have it. It's not in my house. So it's kind of crazy. All right, but it's awesome. It's awesome when you get to that place. All right, so how do you do this, right? How did I do this? What are the steps I took in order to do this? Because you're probably like, she didn't just decide and then she's not sick anymore. It kind of works like that, but I'm going to break down the steps and kind of stretch it out for you so you can see how it is. And this is how I'm not giving health advice, okay? I'm talking about the power of our mind. I'm talking about really getting in tune with what it is that we want and how we can actually have that without having to use the mechanism of getting sick as a way to get what we want. Because the mechanism of getting sick, right, getting the flu, something like that, the mechanism of that is unhelpful to us. It's so negative in so many ways, right? It's hard on your system, it's hard on your family, you get everybody else sick, right? You waste a lot of time, you're behind, you feel like you're behind, you can't enjoy yourself in the moment, things don't even taste good. Like, I don't remember if you remember the last time you were sick. I remember the last time I was sick, no food even tasted good. It was awful. So, we don't want that. All right. So first, how do you do this? Number one, set an intention. Now, a lot of times people will set an intention with the negative word. I don't want to be sick. I'm not going to blah, blah, blah. Well, our unconscious mind doesn't hear the no part or the not part. Our unconscious mind hears I'm going to get sick. So we don't want to say that. So we want to set an intention. I will be healthy. I am healthy. I am always going to be healthy, right? Set an intention. Just I am healthy. I am healthy. This doesn't affect me. I am healthy. Okay? If you notice and you guys, I did this. I don't want to sound like I'm giving COVID advice, but I will share my personal experience. At the beginning of COVID, I set an intention that I will not get COVID. I have not had COVID, and I have traveled all over the place, all over, and been around people with COVID, and I haven't had it, and I've been tested multiple times. So it can be very strong. Now, I'm not trying to go on scientific debate about that, but I just wanted to share that experience. Okay, so set an intention. I am healthy. Number two, if you notice someone else is sick, just know the power of suggestion is super strong, right? They're over there coughing. They're like, oh, my back hurts. And then your body's like, yes, I want to rest too. Let's get sick. And it's like, no, no, no. Just reinforce your intention. Okay. You notice someone is sick. Power of suggestion is strong. Reinforce your intention. I am healthy. I will stay healthy through this holiday season, right? I am healthy through this holiday season. If you feel the sick coming on, like I was sitting there next to that lady, my face was getting hot. I'm like feeling all sniffly. My body's starting to ache. I was like, oh, ask yourself this question, legit in your head. What does me getting sick give me permission to do or not to do? What does me getting sick give me permission to do or not to do? And it might be both. It might be like gives me permission to rest and gives me permission to bow out of this trip I don't want to go on, right? Totally okay if it's both, do things and not do things. Just get really real. What all does getting sick give me permission to do or not do? And then stay strong and consistent with your intention, right? You're going to ask those questions. As soon as you ask those questions of yourself, and this is what happens with me, as soon as I ask those questions of myself, I'm like, oh. And when I have that realization, I'm like, oh, this is because I don't want to deal with this thing, and because I don't want to say no here, and because I'm tired, and because I'm going to feel guilty, and all these things, right? As soon as I have that realization, it's gone. It is gone because then I can say, oh, instead of me having to say, oh, I can't go on the trip because I'm sick, I can just say, I'm not going on the trip. Instead of me having to say, oh, I want to have a rest day when I get home because I'm sick, I can just say, I'm taking Monday off. I'm having a rest day. Instead of me going and saying, oh, well, I don't want to talk to my boyfriend about this uncomfortable stuff, I'm like, how about we make it not uncomfortable? Hey, boyfriend, let's schedule a time that we're going to talk about this stuff and we have an agenda and we got 10 minutes to do it. Right. I'm like, what can I do to make this not uncomfortable? Um, you know, sympathy, right? Like, why do I feel like I need sympathy? Like, where's that coming from? Okay, how am I going to feel good myself? So ask your body, what is it you are trying to tell me? Like, it's very simple. I remember I was going upstairs one time and my knee was hurting and it was like, huh, What are you trying to tell me? And I was like, oh, I'm being inflexible in this place. Yeah, because knee is about flexibility and bending, and I don't want to bend. I'm being stubborn. And I was like, oh, knee pain went away. It's so crazy how this works. It's really awesome. So you can always ask your body, hey, what are you trying to tell me? What do I need to know that I'm not paying attention to? Because our body is like the foundation, right? That's kind of the last resort. That's the alarm bells going off, like, hey, deal with this thing. It happens in our body. So I know some of you might have some questions. I have a book that I'm going to recommend that can help with this, but you also might have some questions about, okay, is this really going to work? Because I was like that too. I remember my first coach that I worked with that we did this kind of stuff, and I was like, yeah, that's a bunch of woo-woo stuff, right? I used to say that all the time. And now I'm like, oh, I think I'm like certifiably woo-woo at this point. But I used to be really skeptical. I'm like, where's the science behind it? Where's the studies? Like, that's not true. And if that was true, then modern medicine would be like, I argued with everything until I saw it happen in my life. And so here's a couple questions that I figured you might have, because these are the kind of questions I would have. And if you have other questions, hit me up with those in the comments or in DM, an or direct message. So one question, what if I still get sick? You do the intention, you notice someone else is sick, you reinforce your intention, you feel the sick coming on, you're like, hey, what does this give me permission to do or not do? You identify those things and you still get sick. Like, what the F, right? Okay, so what did you do while you were sick that you couldn't do when you were healthy? What did it allow you to do? What did it allow you not to do? What'd you get out of doing? Right? So build that in your schedule. I had a client that I was talking to, and she was like, oh, now that I'm sick, I can actually take a nap. I never have time to take a nap. Put a nap in your schedule. Put a nap in your schedule. And now you don't have to get sick to take a nap. Now you can just take a nap without all the crap of getting sick. Like, just take a nap. It's not like, how long does that take? 20 minutes? Half an hour? So we tell ourselves these stories like, oh, I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this, until finally we want to do it so bad that our unconscious mind is like, awesome, I'm going to get you that nap. You're going to nap for 4 days while you're down with the flu. Right. So build that in your schedule, like, so that you don't have to get sick next time. Say no to the things you don't want to do instead of having to get sick and deal with all the inconveniences of that. It's much easier just to say no. No, I don't want to go on that trip. No, I don't want to do that. No, I don't want to work with this client. No, I don't want to work on that blog post. Cool. Do something different. Um, Second question. My brain is arguing that this won't work for me. So people knew this stuff for many, many years. And with Western medicine, we forgot a lot of this. We went to taking a pill for everything. We can do this. And there are a lot of practitioners out there who do this. And when I first started working with the coach, I remember asking him about something. We went to dinner and my son was coughing and having nosebleeds, and he came up with the solution. He's like, oh, it's this, this, this. This is why that's happening. We did what he said to do that night, and the nosebleed stopped and the coughing stopped instantaneously. And I was like, whoa, how do you know this? Right. I thought he was like some kind of genius. And of course, he like kind of played into it and he was like, oh, I just know. It's like download. No, he didn't. He had this book. Okay, so I've linked the book. At least my theory is he had this book. I didn't see it on his bookshelf, but I'm pretty sure, knowing his background, he had this book. So there's a book that I think is life-changing. I'm sharing my affiliate link to it. It's called You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. And in this book, it has a whole section you can read, but in the back, which I suggest you read the front, in the back is an index of almost any kind of ailment you could possibly have. And then what is the belief behind that? And then an affirmation you can say. Now, is that going to cure everything? It depends on the person, right? Depends on the person, depends on the ailment. But it's a good place to start in getting a deeper understanding of like, why is my body doing this thing? Is there something I need to know that I could solve to where my body can turn the alarm bells off? And so I have this book in Kindle and paperback. And here's why. I have the paperback version at home so that I can dog ear things and write in it. And I have it to open and access if I'm doing something at home. But I have it in Kindle so that on my phone, no matter where I'm at, if I can't answer the question from my body, what are you trying to tell me? I can look in the book and I can say like, oh, okay, I'm having, my nose is running. What does that mean? Let me figure out, like, because it's not apparent to me. Right. So I use the book as a reference. So I got it on Kindle and paperbacks. And the link is there if you are interested in that. I'm just going to paste it down here in the comments. This is only going to be posted on YouTube and Facebook. So the rest of you who are watching this, it's in the caption of the video. All right. Now, here's the other thing. My brain is arguing that this won't work for me. It's not going to work if you don't try. Maybe you do get sick, but maybe it's shorter. Maybe it's a little less intense, right? You have to start somewhere or you will stay in the same place, right? If you are okay with, "Oh, I get sick 6 times a year and blah, blah," okay, cool. Like, if it's not causing disruption in your life and you like it, awesome. But for most people I know, getting sick comes at the most inconvenient time. Like, I was talking with my sister and she was like, "Oh, it's when I'm, like, super stressed. I got so much stuff going on. I've got all these irons in the fire." And that's when it's, like, the time that I need the most of my energy, the time that I need the most focus, that's when I get sick. We don't want to have that happening at a time that it's going to derail you from hitting your business goals. So if we can not get sick and continue with the momentum we need, get the energy that we need, that's even better. But we have to start somewhere. So it might not be perfection right away. Like when I first met that coach, who helped me through this. I was sick for 3 weeks. I had to go to the hospital. I had walking pneumonia and bronchitis, and I had to have albuterol and breathing treatment, and even I couldn't drive myself to the hospital. I don't know. I remember I drove from I was in an event. I drove from the restaurant to the hotel, and I don't remember how I got there. I just remember being in the hotel room and then calling my ex-husband, at the time he was my husband, and saying, "Please, can you please pick me up, or I'm going to have to call 911 because I can't breathe." And so I was really, really sick. And I fought with that coach. He's like, "Do this, do this, do this." And I fought with him until I was like, "Wait a minute." I just started doing this stuff. And then I stopped getting sick. But it took a while for me to kind of latch on to the idea and embrace it because I was just like, this sounds too easy. This sounded too easy. All right. So here's another question that I'm sure is going to come up. I have chronic health issues. Are you saying it's all in my head? Now, I'm not a doctor. Okay. I will say yes and no to this. Like, there is no denying that there are physical ailments, that viruses do exist, that if you have a broken bone, we can see that it's broken. You can't stand on it. Right. Like, we understand that. I'm not arguing that. I'm not saying, like, with the power of your mind, you're going to heal your broken bone. That's not what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is that our unconscious mind is so extremely powerful. And one of its jobs is to keep us healthy, right? Like, it keeps us breathing, it keeps our heart pumping, it keeps the immune system going. That's its job, right? And this what I'm sharing is about empowering your mind to do the work for you, to do its work that it's supposed to do. So you can then, with your conscious mind, do the work you want to do, right? Let's empower our unconscious mind to keep us healthy, right? So that we're not over here having to be like, "Oh, let me make sure I get my Dayquil and let me make sure I get my orange juice." Like, I bet that lady at the conference sure wishes she was healthy coming to the conference because being sick is a huge distraction. And she probably felt bad being sick in the room, like knowing she might give it to other people, etc. So when we don't do what we really want, right, our unconscious mind helps us out by getting us the situation so that we can do what we want. So, don't want to go to that party? Awesome, you just got sick. Don't want to go to that wedding? Awesome, you just got sick. Don't want to work on that hard project year end because you're just super stressed out and you're in your head about it and think you can't do it? Great, now you got sick. You can't work on it, right? So, our unconscious mind is like, "I've got your back." And, it's those thoughts. If I'm sick, I can rest. If I'm sick, I can cancel my RSVP. So what we want to do is empower our unconscious mind to do its job, be our immune system. And we can then focus on what we need to work on. Okay. So I hope that that was helpful for you guys and really hit with you. I wanted to tell you how you can work with me on this. And right now I have 3 one-on-one coaching spots that are open. I haven't opened up one-on-one coaching for 2 years. I just reopened it back in October. I've got a couple of people who are already on board and I have a few more spots left. And the reason that I'm sharing about this, being that I'm like a Pinterest coach, Pinterest consultant, Pinterest strategist, whatever you want to call it. I work with a lot of different types of businesses. I've done a lot of different things. This is for you if you want to level up in 2023. The information is all out there. That has never really been the problem. And every day that the internet exists and goes on, the information that we need is less and less of a problem because there's 800 people out there making videos about how to do email marketing or how to do whatever. I happen to know those things very, very well. In addition to that, there is the stuff that really is stopping us, right? Those limiting beliefs, those thought patterns, those stories, those things that have happened in our life that we continue to see come true, right? We're like, I always fail or nothing ever works out for me. Those kinds of things. That's what we got to work through. That really is what's holding people back, especially what I found in this level where it's between like 1 to 10,000 a month in there. There's something that happens where it's like you just can't push past. I couldn't push past till I hired a coach and I started dealing with this stuff. Now, the coach, coaches can help you with all the marketing stuff and all the business stuff. And I can absolutely help you with all that. And that totally makes it where I come from a place of like truly understanding what it is to be an entrepreneur because I am. But I also bring this other piece. So if you want to level up in 2023, you've taken all the courses, joined all the masterminds, and you still aren't hitting your goals. And you've hired people to help you, yet you still feel unproductive. You know that you can do more. You're just like not getting the most. If you feel like life is in the way of reaching your goals, then let's talk. DM me and let's discuss how we can work together. If it's a good fit, what it is that you need, where you want to go, and what I can do to help you get there. And hey, if you use this technique to not get sick, let me know. I would love to know what you guys do about it. So I've got some comments here. I'm going to go ahead and read. Pull this over to my other screen so I can see it easily. So let's see. Some portion of chronic pain can be coming from the stories that we tell ourselves. Totally. Totally. And this is the same with just the regular common cold, right? So yeah, there's a lot of different disciplines out there that talk about these kinds of things. There's a few that I study, and I've been doing this for a few years, and I can confidently say that I don't get sick anymore. I'm never going to get sick. It's not something I do. It's not something I do. Instead, I say, okay, what is this going to get? What is it going to get for me? Like just the whole process I just lined out for you guys, instantaneously, I do that. And if I can do it, you totally can do it too. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you found this helpful, please share it with a friend. Subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. Like and push all the reaction things on whatever platform you're on. And I look forward to working with you in the next year.